we have an interview with a panel of Inscryption content creators. And so I'm actually going to go make my way over to them. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with the Grimoire mod because we actually
Oh,
have a little trailer for that we can start with first. So without further ado, let me play this trailer. And I believe that's it. So thank you so much for to the whole Grimoire mod community for first of all just having this partnership with our server, and then also that is just such a cool game. It is really cool to see what this community has done with the game, and that we even like have a whole you know what do you call it? We have a whole mod that completely it acts out the whole Grimoire game. Because I mean, a lot of us really liked the small snippet of it we got in the actual game itself. So to see it all fleshed out like that is so cool. I will turn it over to Pig now, who represents the Grimoire mod server and is here to tell us a little bit more about the mod. So can you tell us kind of how this whole community around the Grimoire mod started?
I wasn't there for the start, but I'm assuming it was, Ara and or initially Julian. They just decided to start coding a mod, and then I kind of got on the team like as a third person initially with like this electric chair model because I thought it would be fun. And then it just kind of went naturally from there. They created the Grimoire mod server, and then people started joining and contributing their ideas and artwork, and it all just sort of came together.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see like just what that community has managed to accomplish. So did you guys mainly rely on existing assets already in the game to build your mod, or did you have to make a lot of custom things as well?
We have to make a few custom things. Uh, the biggest one that I've worked on being the crypt model, because that didn't exist. I can screen share that if you'd like.
Sure,
I have it open.
why not?
Here is the crypt model in its all of its glory. I spent a while making this. We don't really have any of the things in it because I don't know. We were planning on having crypt puzzles, but we haven't gotten around to that yet. But that's something to look forward to in the future. Here's what
Interesting.
Grimoire usually is.
So this sounds like this project is far from over. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. Kevin is gonna be picking up with programming for it, I think. So, yeah, still being worked on.
Awesome. Well, I love this mod so much, and it's really great that we got to showcase this on our stream today. So if anybody else would like to check out more of the Grimoire mod, type !Grimoire in our Twitch chat, and it will give you a link to their server. So yeah, if you'd like to join their server, see what they're all about, and even play the mod for yourself, I definitely recommend checking them out. They deserve a lot more attention than they're getting right now, and they are a hugely cool community of people. So yes, please go check them out. All right, so that is not the only part of Inscryption we have to discuss today. So actually, right now, I'd like to transition over to card generators. It is no secret that card design is a big part of Inscryption. You know, everybody's designing their own cards. Everybody is wanting to make their own even style of Inscryption in some cases. So card design is a very huge aspect of our community. And Vlad has actually done something for our community to enhance that aspect and give people a tool so that anybody can really generate their own cards and be as creative as they want to. So Vlad, can you please tell us a little bit more about what you came up with and what you've built for the community?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been spending my free time on making a tool to much more easily make your own Inscryption cards. So usually how it went about is that people downloaded like images from the web and then sort of cut them together, and like they couldn't find the right sigils, they were the wrong sigils, they were hand-drawn, whatnot. And I set out to make a just to make sure you're sharing your screen right now.
Oh, sorry. Someone asked me. I accidentally didn't give someone I was supposed to permission. So actually, I'm going to stop my screen share for just a second. Oh, that is not the right one. My bad.
Yeah, and I'll continue talking then.
Yeah, keep on talking. I apologize, because I forgot to give the other person who designed a generator permission. So that is my bad. I'll do that while you keep talking. My bad.
Absolutely. So so I set out to make a tool to make my own cards because I'm a software developer in the background. I write code, and I realized like all these cards, people were hand drawing them themselves. This could be like automated, like the game does it. Make stuff. You'll delete. It may like the way the game does it, but I'm doing it server side, like on my own server without the game. And I ended up making a website where you could generate your own cards, and not only just generate leisure cards, you can also generate Act 2 cards and Act 3 cards, P3 cards, and also me and Pixel Profligate. We collaborated as well later on, and we put a lot of his assets into my generator, so you can make Pixel Profligate's style cards from my generator, which I thought was a cool addition.
And in fact, let me show those actually a little bit. Oops, this is the wrong thing. But yes, we do actually have both generators on our website. And if you type !Generator in our chat, you can actually get a link to those as well. So yes.
Awesome.
And yes, here is give you overview your generator really quick. Oh, that is so sweet. I didn't notice you did that, Vlad. That is so sweet.
Awesome. Very happy for you, man. Very happy. This is the generator. And the gist of it, if you just press the generator button, just to give an example of leisure.
Is that working now?
It generates a card. And if you scroll down to the bottom, this is where I've been spending most of my weekends for the past month or two. At the absolute bottom, you can change the style. I don't want to just showcase like how it works.
Whoa.
There's a lot of stuff you can do there. And if you press the style, it's a drop-down menu. You the PO3. Then we can't see the menu options. That's sad.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you can also
you can't see it, but it is. I guarantee you, I can't. There are menu options there, so you can't change them.
That like a cool thing. And one of the this project is pretty big. It also has support to import the games into the game. So with the help of the mod JSON loader, you can make your own cards, and then you can import them with the mod, so you can play with the games yourself, with the cards yourself in the game, which I think is a pretty cool feature, and I've put a lot of effort into it. So I'm very happy with that one, and also it's understandable when you say it, but I always get like the cool feeling when you make your own card and you put in the stats and whatnot, and then you change the style. Like everything carries over. So if you were to scroll up a bit and set the portrait to be to be like an adder or something, the creature there, and generate the card in PO3 style, and then if you were to switch style to the Act 2 GBC, you can see like this card gets this style, and if you select GBC and generate, it gets converted, and all the sigils and everything it's stored. Yeah, that's this is my generator. You can try it out if you want. Link in the like the command generator.
Yep. And you can also find the link at our website as well, the Inscryption website.
I'm not really sure how to transition there, because me and Delete44, we've been talking about because we both have made our generators, like the other generator. I'm not sure if you want to continue going on.
Yeah, Delete. Actually, I think it's a good point to hand this over to you, because we not only have one card generator available for people to use, we have two of them. So, Delete, would you mind telling us a little bit more about your card generator?
Hello there. So, yeah, mine is basically the exact same as what Vlad just spoke about, but on a smaller scale and with slightly fewer features. So mine is very much for artistic and meme potential more than anything. I don't really do exports to games or anything like that, but you can kind of mess around a lot more with weird statistics, and a lot of that was kind of thanks to people from the community who helped me build cool assets. So you can put like up to 99 blood and bone costs, things like that. And it's very much like it's a piece of fun, and it's stopped pretty much as a piece of fun, whereas Vlad actually made his useful, and I'm seriously impressed with that. Like, I mess around with your generate your export to the game feature, and it is so cool. So kudos to you there. But yeah, I mean, for me, sorry, a little bit cheekily, my favorite thing about this card generator is that it actually got me my current job. In terms of, it got kind of popular, and I was able to just kind of talk about it in all my interviews, and people were like, "Wow, we really like how popular that got, and how many how we managed it and handled this application." So, thanks for that, guys. Cheers.
That's really cool. Appreciate wow.
And since then, I've stopped working on it because I've been really busy with a new job. So,
oh, no worries at all. Like that is a completely understandable reason to stop working on it. But I mean, that's really cool that like this led you to if this actually helped you advance your career. I mean, that's
absolutely
definitely not something I can say about my work with Inscryption. It has surprisingly gotten me has made me little progress in my actual career, believe it or not. Insurance it's not too related to insurance, unfortunately, but it has. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool. And like I said, you guys can check out both of these generators on our website or using the command generator in our Twitch chat. They are both really cool. And I actually used Vlad's generator to make all of the PO3 cards for today's stream. I actually would not have had PO3 cards if it weren't for that generator, because those of you who are in my server know that there are not 2D models of the full cards out anywhere yet. So yes, if it weren't for the generators, we would not be having all the fun we're having today. So thank you so much, both of you, for everything you've done for this community. And well, I just thank you for giving us these tools to be able to continue making creative Inscryption content. And I think
absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think that kind of gives us a good transition, because there was a special style and in your generator, Vlad, that is pretty unique, and some people here might not have seen that before. And for those of you who haven't, this is actually the famous pixel profligate style.
It's me.
Yes, it sure is. So Pixel, you have your own Inscryption project, and I could try to give it my own summary, but I feel like I couldn't. This is really your project, so I don't think I could do it as much justice as you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on?
Yeah, for sure. So for the last, it's almost been a year at this point. I
know.
have taken pretty much every Inscryption card and tried to convert them as closely as I thought that they would be like if it was a real TCG. And it has been a massive undertaking, because I've remade pretty much all the art from the original game, and after doing that, it's like, okay, there's like 80 beast cards and 20 magic cards. So after that, I then went through and started fleshing out all the other archetypes with completely custom cards, and it's gotten to the point where there's over 200 unique cards in this pack of just cards that I've been making. It's become a lot bigger than I ever intended it to be, and it's also developed an entire PvP community around it, which is a whole other thing I did not expect to happen. But it has been a significant amount of fun making and remaking and coming up with new cards and seeing all the things that people have made in my style. And because I've made all the assets just available, I've put them out there every time I've released the files. People have been making so many cool things, and it's not, there's not a lot to explain about it. It's just a massive project that has taken a lot of my time, and I'm super happy with everything that's come out of it and all the hard work I've seen people in the community make with it as well. It's been super cool.
Well, you sound very humble, but I mean, I think you're downplaying the amount of work you put into this. You've pretty much redesigned every single Inscryption card and then added some new ones on top of that. And not just the Act 1 cards, we're talking all 4 style of cards.
I might have done that a little bit, yeah.
In fact, I haven't actually gotten a chance to show them off yet, because we haven't gotten that far yet, but I might even have a couple cards in your style snuck in to my deck every so often. Maybe not by my own choice, but I'm sure somebody snuck them in.
I look forward to seeing them.
So, and as we discussed before, there's actually this generator will generate cards in your style. So, and as you've seen, there have been a lot of people creating cards in your style, even with the card contests. And I guess, what is your just thoughts on that in general? And did you expect people to grow as fond of the pixel profligate style as they did, or did you really think this is going to be a small personal project and not evolve into this?
I mean, it was just made to be a small personal project. That was the whole thing, because I just wanted to play it with my friends, and I figured, okay, I've made all these assets and I have them organized. I might as well just give them to people. Maybe someone else will like it. And then everyone took them and made so many cool things with it, and it has been incredible to see what everyone in the community has made with it, because it has led to some really, really cool projects that people have made, including someone else who's in here. They've done things with my assets, and it's been pretty neat. But yeah, it's exploded far out of what I ever expected it to be, and it's been super, super cool to see.
Well, I think that kind of gives us a good transition into our last speaker for this panel. So, I know one particular aspect of your work is your style is in PvP Inscryption and not the classic player versus dealer Inscryption like you see with my game. So what drove you to want to start doing PvP instead of PvE? And was that just kind of going along with your decision to make it a classic trading card game?
Kind of, yeah. It's a lot easier to make it a just PvP thing, because as big as I want to make it and as much as I want there to be PvE, I think just being able to play it with your friend, like kind of competitively in air quotes, it's mostly for fun anyways, but being able to do that and just enjoy it and build a deck and see how your opponent chooses to go against you instead of trying to, beat them while they essentially cheat. It leads to a lot of fun things because Inscryption has a lot of really neat little mechanics that interplay really well, and it just lends itself well to PvP, often at least.
That makes sense. And in fact, there's been a whole community around Inscryption PvP. Wouldn't you say? Like there has been probably like ever since I took over this server, there's been a push to get more fleshed out and elaborate Inscryption PvP versions, and there's even been multiple different versions proposed.
Yeah. Oops.
Oops. Oh, did someone do caps? What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So actually, I do have one person here with us from the PvP community today who's probably been more involved with PvP Inscryption than anybody else here, and that's actually one of our server admins, Murrigan.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
When I first got into Inscryption, I saw the game and I was like, man, I would love to have these cards in my own hands. I would love to play with other people, and so I came across Vlad's videos, and it's really, and I really enjoyed those. I personally have some unfinished, albeit real life cards with magnets attached, the same way Vlad does, and that was my first introduction. Then I came on to this Fanscription server that was all about making these real life cards, and I noticed there was this little channel, PvP Inscryption, and I was obsessed with the idea. Back in the good old days, I'll call them in quotation marks, we would play using a Dungeons and Dragons online thing, and we would just import all the Act 2 cards and just play against each other. We came up with our own little ban lists. And I loved that, and I was getting to the point where I wanted to make my own cards when suddenly Pixel Profligate rolled around. I saw his style, I fell in love with it, and frankly, it's what made me get into pixel art and get me as good as I am today. Inscryption's done a lot for me, and so I've tried to do a little bit back to it.
So can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of what current projects the PvP community is working on?
The PvP community, after the Inscryption Singularity, I'll call it, when Pixel released his assets, there's a lot of branches. I know Grimora Mod has their own format. The format I represent is Augmented. It is a offshoot of what was once the Overhaul. The Overhaul is concluded. They went to go make their own game, which is interesting. You guys should go check it out once it comes out, called Neverenders. But I'm trying to continue making PvP cards in my own format. Pixel Profligate style, I really respect. It's very fast and similar to Act 2, where it's cutthroat and hardcore like Inscryption. It was kind of meant to be. But when I saw this, and when I saw these PvP cards and I thought about, okay, but I'd probably destroy my 9-year-old cousins, etc. in this. I wanted to try and make a slower format that had a bunch upon bunches of cards. Because in a slower format, I feel like, in a weaker format, and you can include a lot of cards that are just in between each other.
Yeah.
My goal is to make it so no card feels useless. That's my motto.
And would you say, like,
I'm not there yet.
kind of what Daniel said earlier about how some cards you also kind of want to avoid them being too powerful, so the whole meta isn't oriented around those most powerful cards? Do you have to take that into consideration as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that couldn't exactly be purported one for one, and I'm not gonna lie, Pixel helped a lot with that, with his ideas about fecundity, searching from your deck. We don't have any tokens, which is a major boon. I think that was really smart of Pixel. It's a very clean format. You only have your side deck and your main deck. But a lot of cards had to get changed when they were implemented. Like in the slower format of Augmented, Mantis God was quite the menace. He is still in the game as a 1-blood. You just can't buff his power with sigils like Alpha, with Leader, with Alpha. Pixel Profligate's format I respect for being very vanilla in that aspect.
It's very interesting. Well, it's been really great from hearing from all of you, and obviously I don't want to be the only one asking questions. I know we've already taken a bit of time, but let's take about 5 or 10 minutes to just do some audience questions. And I know there's probably going to be some already, but if you guys have any questions for any of our panelists here today, please feel free to ask them right now, and we'll take a couple minutes to answer those. And then panelists, I encourage you, if you would like to just review the chat after our interview and just answer the questions on your own, you're more than welcome to do that. As you can see, everybody is very excited to hear from you guys and what you're working on. So let's pick some community questions.
I think we can answer like out loud, guys.
Yeah, you can. I just laughing at the one. If I got
Listen,
if I got one,
we like Swiss cheese,
what inscription
okay?
tattoo should they get? So someone wants to know what inscription tattoo. Let's start with a non-serious question. What inscription tattoo should they get if they're going to get one?
Oh, jeez. Probably one of the sigils, because like
Absolutely.
Gek
is a lot.
Grizzle.
Gek is good. Oh,
No,
jeez.
okay, right. Hear me out. People get like the tattoos of like patches, and it looks like they're like fabric patches that have been stitched onto their skin. Get that.
Oh, you like a
with an actual
sigil?
patch from the game.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's actually a good
good.
idea. That's a solid.
That's
That's a
Then
solid
just pick a
idea.
sigil from your favorite card.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah, Himbo, if you don't do that, I'm actually going to get that tattoo. So you better come back with proof next week that you have the tattoo, because if not, we're taking that idea, and I will hold you to that. So that's your homework assignment for the week.
No.
All right, that is a question about dead cells. That is not Inscryption. We get a surprising amount of those in Inscryption, believe it or not.
Wow.
Oh, someone asked if Cabin Gramophone left? It did, but that is we'll make sure to pull Cabin Gramophone back after our interview here. Let's see.
I see a question in the Twitch chat of what type of puzzle will be in the crypt? New cards?
Probably something to do with the well. There's gonna be a shelf with boss skulls on it. After you defeat each boss, its skull will be placed there. Something to do with the mirror, definitely. So I'm not sure what. I haven't planned any of this out. This is mostly from what Ara's told me to get. One of the things is there are like talking cards for every character that isn't a boss and that isn't Grimora. So like there's one for Pike Mage that's like a vampire stake, like a wooden stake through the heart for the vampire. And I'm assuming most of those puzzles that we're making are just going to be to make to be able to get some of those talking cards. The mirror, as in, do you know in Act 2 there's a mirror in Grimora's crypt that you can go to change how you look? That mirror.
That's interesting. I actually saw this really good question in the chat. I think this could be for anybody here. Somebody's making a video game that it's like an Inscryption-like game with different mechanics, and they're worried that it'll be too similar to Inscryption. And I'm sure all of us here who've made Inscryption content have had some sort of fear along these lines before. So, can anyone here provide some insight into like how you like try to differentiate your content from just the original base game, and what kind of challenges that presented for you?
Ooh, I might actually, because I'm slowly, once I feel like I finish up my current project, I might start working on my own. I say might. I already am kind of working on my own card game, but it takes a couple pieces from Inscryption, mainly like lane combat and front row, back row stuff. I think as long as you focus on certain individual aspects that you really want to incorporate that feel different, it's totally fine to still have mechanics that feel similar to another game. I don't necessarily think you need to be worried about it being too similar, because as long as you're not making it Inscryption and you give it enough of your own flavor, it will stand out in its own way. I think kind of regardless.
And as the person who's created a physical version of Act 1, I can definitely attest to that. It is it's okay to like take, inspiration from something else, especially when it's someone from like Daniel Mullins who like actively encourages people to, take his work and expand upon it. Like and you guys heard from him earlier, he loves everything that the community does with his intellectual property. He is by no means stingy with it. He actively encourages it, and is super encouraging to anybody who shows them their Inscryption work. So yeah.
Yeah, he's actually printed out a deck of my cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's really cool.
It was very similar for me because I had the same doubts, like, oh, okay, I'm making something which is basically ripping off the Inscryption assets. Is this okay? So way earlier on the start of my project, I sent him an email. I was like, hey, I've got this. Is this all right? Please help me. I'm sorry. And he sent me such a reassuring and supportive message, like, oh, this is awesome. I want to see this go. Fantastic. Literally,
I had the exact same experience. Sent an email sort of.
Have we all sent the same email to Daniel?
It sounds like it.
He probably gets these emails all the time. People asking.
I've seen people ask Daniel all sorts of silly questions.
But I mean, hopefully it gives you guys some perspective that, like, it's a lot of times when people get these messages, they're flattered. When like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and that saying has true meaning. Like, because like I've even been asked like before. Someone else asked me once, legitimately, if it was okay for them to do their own physical version of Inscryption on Twitch because I was the first one to do it, and I was just like, yes, I don't own the concept of Twitch streaming. You by all means do whatever you want. Like, in fact, I encourage you. Here's all our server resources. So, yes, like if you're ever like worried about like copying someone else's work, a lot of times the best artists start by taking inspiration from somebody else. So, definitely don't be discouraged from taking inspiration. There is definitely a difference between copying, but yeah, that's how most great artists get started.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we take one more question before we go back to the game?
Oh, good luck.
Oh, here's a good one. How does a deck work in PvP? What are the deck creation limits? That's a good question for Pixel or Mergen.
I believe mine are the same as Pixel, so I'll let him go ahead.
Yeah, mine normally, at least, I encourage people to just kind of play how they want. It's more of a tool set, kind of like how Inscryption is, but I typically say 20 cards in your main deck, 20 cards in your side deck, and just don't go too crazy with like rares. Keep it like kind of fair.
A lot of the rare cards are not only straight upgrades, but also just literal insanity.
Yeah. Some of them are really strong.
Personal favorite is the one you made of Grand Astrologer that literally steals one of your opponent's cards.